to introduce Nate Mccoy. Hi, Nate. Welcome. Nate is the Executive Director of the National Association of Minority Contractors, and Nate will be the moderator for our apprenticeship panel today. Thank you, Nate.
Thank you. I want to first thank all the students tuning in today for this exciting first anniversary of the Construction Careers Month for our industry. I also want to thank this exciting and very expertise-driven panel that we brought together today to really share the wealth of knowledge, opportunities, and ultimately awareness of what the construction industry has to offer. Before we get started with the panel and we introduce them to share, their respective organizations' agenda as far as the work they do, I thought it would be a great idea to kick us off by really just posing the question and kind of taking a moment to talk about the difference between pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship. And I think as you look across our city and our nation, you see a lot of economic disparities in our communities. You see a lot of homeless population, including high school kids and even middle school kids that are experiencing poverty. And why this is so important is because the construction industry has often been coined as the FBI. And what we mean by the FBI is the traditional route to getting into construction is typically through your father, your brothers, or your in-laws, or some relative or friend in your family. And I think, that works for some communities, but in other communities where those relationships aren't there, our whole message today is that we want all to feel welcome in the construction industry. Where you start is not always where you finish, but we want to make sure that you are aware of all the potential opportunities. And just to kick us off before we let the pre-apprenticeship programs here today and our apprenticeship programs really go deep dive into what they do, is that pre-apprenticeship, that's your first step. If you've never had an introduction to the industry, it's a good 101 in construction, if you will, to kind of expose you to some of the trades that we have to offer. It also gives you the opportunity to meet other people, peers, who are also going through these pre-apprenticeship programs at the same time. It's a great way to, to bond, to build relationships, and ultimately to find the trade that works best for you. And some of our pre-apprenticeship programs even offer stipends, the whole model of earn while you learn. And we want to make sure that we kind of flesh that out, if you will, in today's discussion. And then the traditional route is to jump into an apprenticeship program once you've kind of gotten your feet wet, and whether you're male or female, you might know what you want to do. And that gives you the opportunity to really jump into a program and see yourself still earn while you learn. But in the apprenticeship realm, you are physically on job sites, whether they be public or private projects. And pre-apprenticeship is a little bit more kind of hands-off from the normal job sites that you encounter, but it both are equally important and can carry your career pathway forward into a high-paying living wage job in our community. So I just wanted to frame that. And then now what I would love to do is to really introduce some of the panel that we have here today so that they can tell you firsthand what they do and how they do in their respective organizations to carry the message forward that we have started with the framework today. So what I'd ask is I'm going to introduce all of you, and I'm going to start with the first person, and then please give us, upwards of 2 minutes, no longer if you don't mind, so that we can get through everybody, and then certainly dive in deeper and leave some Q&A on the back end. First up on our panel of roster is Bridget Quinn. She is the Workforce Development Coordinator at NECA-IBEW Electrical Training Center. Bridget, I will turn my mic off and give you the floor to introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes to let us know a little bit about you and your program.
Thank you very much, Nate. So my name is Bridget Quinn. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator for the NECA-IBEW Electrical Training Center. So essentially, I'm the outreach coordinator. I'm also a journeyman electrician. So I myself went through the apprenticeship program I did not go through a pre-apprenticeship program, although I wholeheartedly recommend them to folks who maybe don't have any construction experience. It's a great way to get your feet wet. And it's also a great way to kind of explore the trades and find out which one's the best fit for you. So over here at the Electrical Training Center, we train for 3 different types of electrical licenses. There are lots of different types of electricians out there, and we train for 3 of them. So whether you want to work in a commercial environment, hospitals, airports, supermarkets, things like that, office buildings or schools, whether you want to work on limited energy, which means the transfer of communication, data, telephone, internet, fiber optics, or whether or not you want to work in the residential arena where you'll be going to people's homes, maybe building new homes. We also have a pre-apprenticeship program as well that we run in the summer, and more information about all of our programs can be found on our website, which is nietc.org.
Thank you, Bridget. A lot of great things happening at the Electrical Training Center. Just happy to have you here today. Want to now bring up Ryan, who is the Apprenticeship Administrator for the Pacific Northwest Carpenters Institute.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Azadeh Ryan, and I am the Apprenticeship Administrator for the Carpenters. So I do a lot of work on the back end, writing policies, providing technical support to our JATCs, and to our coordinators. The Carpenters have 6 different occupations that we train for, and we have 6 different apprenticeship programs. Our most common one is the Carpenters, general carpentry, a lot of concrete work. Our second most common one is the exterior interior specialists, and they do the metal stud framing and acoustical ceilings. All of our apprenticeship programs, you're looking at about 3 to 4 years, all pay as you are learning. And we have full benefits. Our benefits include pension, medical, dental, and also an EAP, which is an employee assistance program. Our journey rates are about $45 an hour, a little bit more depending on the occupation that you go into. And our first term apprentices start at about $22 an hour. And as you're going through the program, you are eligible for a re-rate every 6 months on average. Thank you.
Sorry, my mute was not working. Thank you, citing living wage jobs, as we just heard. I mean, $22 an hour starting out. You're not going to find that at McDonald's. So, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Want to now bring up John Tillotson, who is the coordinator at the Sheet Metals Institute.
Hey. How you doing? I'm John Tillotson. I'm the coordinator, as Nate said. I started my apprenticeship in 1997. So I've been a sheet metal worker for a long time, a journeyman sheet metal worker. I'm going to try to share my screen with you all and see if I can show you what a sheet metal worker does. We've got a website where you can pretty quickly navigate sheetmetalinstitute.org and go to a contractors page and click on a contractor and see the kind of work that they do. Do pretty big, exciting sheet metal type work. Let's see here. See if I can go to another page. It won't let me share the screen the way I was hoping for. I lose you. Our trade starts at about $22 an hour as well. I think the electricians are right about there. Basically, you start out at journey rate, and then after about a year, you get a couple of raises every 6 months. You get a raise. You're making 20% more after a year than you were when you first started. So if you started at $20 an hour, that means after a year, you're at $24 an hour. We built a EMP, Experience the Music project. That's a building below the Space Needle that probably most people are familiar with. The tram that takes people up to Pill Hill in Portland, that was manufactured inside Thompson Metal Fab, just to give you an idea of what we do. We're also a 5-year apprenticeship program. We've got a service side for service techs, and then we have a sheet metal worker.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Want to now bring up Kevin Athney, who is the Marketing and Communications Manager for Northwest College of Construction. Kevin, you've got the floor.
Right on. Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin. I'm marketing guy over at the Northwest College of Construction. We're located over by the Portland Airport and we offer apprenticeship programs in 8 different crafts: carpentry, concrete finishing, heavy equipment, HVAC, laborers, brick masonry, sheet metal, sign hangers. Our programs range from 2 to 4 years, and starting pay is around $15 to $25 an hour, depending on what craft you choose to start at. And we also offer professional development courses. If you have goals that go beyond just your apprenticeship, we can also help with that.
Excellent, thank you. Next up, we had Charles Manigault, and I do not see him on the screen, but I'm hoping that he is here. But Charles Manigault is the Pre-Apprenticeship Program Coordinator for Portland Opportunity Industrialization Center, which is a great program, actually housed at Northwest College of Construction, and kind of scanning to see if Charles is with us today.
Yeah. Hey, Nate, this is Aaron. Charles is not with us, so I will post a link to POIC's program in the chat, and people can learn more about it there. But unfortunately, he had other more important things to take care of this morning.
The one thing I will mention real quick on behalf of POIC, since I have supported their program through NAMAC since their inception, is they are one of the pre-apprenticeship programs in our system that does pay a stipend for people who go through the program. So for those youth out there who are, really wrestling with giving up a job to jump into this pre-apprenticeship arena, they are trying to afford the opportunity for you to not have to make that choice on how you put income into your pockets. By giving you a stipend, it allows you to really create that opportunity in construction without losing any potential revenue or income. And I think some of the other pre-apprenticeship programs are certainly either doing that now or getting ready to do that very soon. So I'll say that on behalf of POIC, and wish we could have had them here today, but we know that they're busy and we'll look forward to them the next time. Who I'd like to bring up now, last but not least, is Lisa Palermo, who is the development director at the only pre-apprenticeship program dedicated to women in our program. And so we're excited to have her on behalf of Oregon Tradeswomen. And Lisa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Nate. I'm really excited to be here. And to all the students watching, I know I don't look anything like a tradeswoman, but I want to tell you that Oregon Tradeswomen has been around for 31 years, helping women find a pathway into a solid future working in construction. And when I say women, I also mean non-binary folks who want to get into the industry. Our program in particular is 8 weeks long. We don't currently offer a stipend. I wish we could, but we're a nonprofit, so we haven't gotten there yet. Our program is free to you, however, there's no charge for it. And during that 8 weeks, what we hope to do, we work closely with all these wonderful apprenticeship programs that are represented here, the carpenters, the electricians, sheet metal, etc. And what we do is help you get ready to go into one of those. And so in that 8 weeks with us, we'll help you understand all your different options. We will teach you some basic trades math and some basic other information to help you be successful when you apply to one of those programs. We'll also teach you some basic hands-on skills using both power tools and hand tools. And then we not only teach you all that, but we help you with the process of getting into the apprenticeship program of your choice, or if you choose to go straight to work, we'll help you find a job. In addition to that job placement, we actively do job support for the first year, and then we're here for you for the rest of your life. So what I'll say is all the people that go through our program, they build a sense of community with us. You're never alone. Again, anytime during your career, you can walk back in our doors and say, hey, I'm struggling with this on the job, and we will find a way to help you.
Excellent. A lot of great information, and hopefully people will take advantage. I want to open the floor and kind of get back in the same order we introduced everybody on. And we've got a couple of prepared questions, which I think each panelist already has. And so, really just to kick off the panel conversation, I want to first frame the question and then certainly start in the order of Bridget, John, Kevin, and Lisa to respond accordingly. And, just really to frame some of the stuff we're speaking about, whether it be registered apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship, you know, what is the most common mistakes that young people or even middle-aged people who are getting into these programs face when applying to these programs? And can you provide some tips for high school students or even middle-aged people who are now looking at construction as a viable opportunity in the ways of applying and trying to be successful when they apply the first time? Because we don't want to make people feel as if, like, if they don't get in the first time that, you know, there's a closed door, if you will, on, you know, reapplying and hopefully being successful the next time around. So I just want to ask Bridget to kick us off, and in the same order, we'll just get a answer to that question from each of us.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to answer that. So I think probably one of the most common mistakes people make when they are applying is they come with really little experience, or they don't realize that they need to highlight any kind of hands-on experience that they may have accrued over their lifetime. So for folks interested in applying, I recommend an application portfolio. And that would include, I know a lot of folks are really interested or really aware of what a traditional resume looks like. Well, a trades resume is quite different. You really should be listing any kind of hands-on hobbies you have. If you like to make things, build computers, work on your car, anything that uses your hands, uses tools. Also, photos are great. So the interviewers like to see photos of projects. I know a lot of folks coming out of high school, they may not have a lengthy resume with employment on it. But those hobbies, those shop classes you took, if you help your family around the home or the property on the weekends, that's all good to put on your resume. If you've done any kind of a youth summer construction camp, that's a great thing to put on your resume. That might be something like Urban League or Constructing Hope Summer Camp. There's a lot of really great ones out there. Really check in with your career counselor, find out what's available, see if there's any construction camps that you may not be aware of that your school district participates in, and include those on your resume. Another one thing I want to add, I don't want to take up too much time, is making sure you really know what the trade is all about that you're applying for. In that interview, they can really recognize that if somebody doesn't really know what that trade, what that trade looks like or what they do every day out in the field. So make sure you do your research. YouTube's got a lot of great videos for doing research. Interview folks that work in the industry. There's a lot of great websites out there that you can also find out about construction and what we do every day out in the field.
Bridget, real quick, I want to expand on what you said just briefly, and this is for everybody when they make their remarks. Are there mentors or coaches or folks that, like, as you just mentioned, that are available at all of our programs to just assist, you know, anybody who may be green to resumes and those kind of things that could, you know, kind of have an orientation, if you will, or consultation on, you know, just kind of getting a more firmer understanding? Even, you know, the research that you said absolutely is great, but nothing like having somebody you can talk to internal to the program. Do you guys have a structure in place at IBEW that allows that?
Yes, so we have a monthly information orientation, or we used to during non-COVID times. Right now it's available recorded on our website, and that provides a lot of information, including some networking resources. So we have a lot of groups within the IBEW, like the Reach Out and Engage Next Generation of Electrical Workers, or Renew for short. So they're real interested in bringing young folks in and welcoming them in. They can answer questions, provide resources and insight. Another one would be the Electrical Workers Minority Caucus, or EWMC. They welcome folks to their monthly meetings, and in that orientation, I show a link to where you can find those meeting calendars. We have just a ton of folks that are in our either registered apprentices with us right now, or who are out working in the field with their journeyman license, that are eager and just want to help people interested in the trade. We have an ambassador program here where we train our members to go talk to folks like high school kids and community folks who might be looking for a career change.
Great, thank you. And right before Az goes, I want to also acknowledge that in the room who's not in the room today, but, you know, two other viable pre-apprenticeship programs are Constructing Hope, and I appreciate you, Bridget, for bringing them up. They were not here today, but they are another great culturally specific pre-apprenticeship program right on MLK in inner Northeast Portland, and just another viable option. I would ask Aaron if you could also maybe share their website on the thread. And then the other that is more in the Southeast community, Portland Youth Builders. They're structured a little different than some of our pre-apprenticeship programs here today, but certainly another viable pre-apprenticeship program that's also school-based that we want to make sure that kids are aware of as well, and parents. So thank you, Bridget, for that answer. And now I want to turn the floor over to Az to respond the same.
Hey, Nate, can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
We have a question for Bridget. When are the apprenticeship applications being accepted again?
That's a great question. We've been working on developing an online system. Typically, we get about 1,000 applications every time we open, and we can't, with COVID, can't handle that number of people in our building. So we've developed an online system. In November, we'll be taking applications for our limited energy technician program. That's our smaller program. So we anticipate being able to work at any kinks with our online system with those applications. And then most likely the beginning of the year of 2021 will open for the inside electrician apprenticeship, which is our commercial industrial program.
Thank you, Bridget.
And then sorry, for Az, can you touch on the difference between an apprentice and a journey?
Absolutely. So I would definitely echo everything that Bridget said for our organization too. The difference between an apprentice is a person who hasn't learned everything there is to learn about the trade yet, so they're in the learning process. And a journey worker is a person who's completed either a registered apprenticeship program or some sort of verified training mechanism to learn everything there is to learn about that occupation. So for us, everything that Bridget said is entirely true. And the one issue that we see the most is people just do not come prepared to that interview. And preparation means really learn about what it is that we're offering and be able to answer questions about it. Because if you don't know what a carpenter is and what they do, you're not really selling yourself to our interviewers. And that's huge. I think also having somebody to do a fake interview with would be really helpful. Our interviewers don't really care about somebody coming in and being nervous during the interview process. That's completely normal. But you do need to be able to answer the questions. And just so doing a practice run is really helpful for a lot of people. So I would highly recommend that. With like the electricians, we have people over here that can help you, guide you through that process. We have 5 different apprenticeship coordinators. They can speak for their craft and they can speak for their jurisdiction. You know, they can give you some tips and tricks on what to prepare on, what to research. And so if anybody is really just lost, I would highly recommend that they contact our office and ask to speak with an apprenticeship coordinator, and they will definitely guide them through that process. And also, like the electricians, we don't necessarily care about your work history. Obviously, it's important and you need it on your resume, but all the other projects that you do are really important too. So be sure to add them. I feel like a lot of people apply to our program and they give us the smallest application possible. And then when they come in for the interview, we have a couple of icebreakers. And so we try to drag that information out and it does come out. And when you compare the interview to the application, they're significantly different. So, you know, the more the merrier, the more information you put in there, the better it is for you. So don't be afraid that it's too long or too detailed. Our interviewers appreciate all of that information.
Thank you, Az. John, you're next up.
Well, as far as mentoring, Nate, that's kind of what your question was, I think, about how they can get in contact with somebody that kind of walk them through a process. Because sometimes, you know, a big webinar like this, you can't even come close to getting all your questions answered. You probably won't even know what questions you have until we hang up on this call. And you can call all of us. I mean, that's what we do. Az is a coordinator, Bridget's a coordinator, I'm a coordinator. I take care of the weld certs at our place, and I manage the schedule for the apprentices. But the third hat that I wear as a coordinator is just outreach. So people call me, I'll Zoom with them for an hour and walk them through our website and application process. If they don't have time to call me, they can also go to our website, and we've got a link to a YouTube video on our channel that walks you through the application process. That's totally online. And also I meet with some people, and some people I can steer to another journey person in our trade whose background, life experiences, etc., more closely match the person that I'm talking to, and then they can talk to them and kind of get it from their perspective. And usually that works pretty well for us. So it's just a contact through me, and I put them in touch with somebody else that's a sheet metal worker, basically.
I appreciate that answer. And I think it's very important, as you just acknowledged, that sometimes having somebody's lived experience relative to folks already in the industry is pretty profound, to just make sure you're comfortable answering those questions, as and Bridget said earlier. But appreciate that response, John, because I think that was spot on. Want to now give Kevin the opportunity to respond as well.
Yeah, so again, what everyone else brought to the table, that rings true with us as well. One specific piece of information, especially coming out of high school, we liked our applicants to have their high school transcript. So if you can locate your transcript, you can get a copy of that now. That'll help you a lot later on. We had a lot of folks where they want to be an apprentice, they want to join the program, but getting that transcript is just a giant concrete block, because maybe it's been a while and they have to go back and get it or something like that. So if you can get it early, that'll help a lot. One of the common mistakes that we do see, especially out of high school students, fresh out of high school, ready to join the trades, is not fully understanding the job they're walking into. It's a fantastic opportunity. You get paid great money, but it also is a lot of hard work. Those first couple weeks, you're going to be out there in the field. You're probably going to be given a shovel or a broom, and you're going to be doing some of the dirty work. And that's your employer testing your attitude. That's making sure that you're someone that they can invest in. You're not someone that's just there to get a paycheck and go somewhere, buy the car they want to buy, but that you're someone that's invested in the trades. Those first couple weeks, you'll be sore. You'll be feeling it. It'll be feeling like you're getting up, going, coming home, going to bed, and going straight back to work. But like anything in life, if you build that core strength, and you will, if you stick with it, it just becomes part of your routine, and you start moving on. You get, somebody else gets that shovel, somebody else gets that broom, and you start moving forward in the program.
Thank you, Kevin. Great answer. Lisa?
Helped if I unmute. So I think the biggest mistake people make that we encounter is they think they have to know what they want, or they have to know whether they want to be an electrician, a carpenter, work sheet metal, whatever. When people come to a pre-apprenticeship program, you really don't need to know any of that. That's what we're here for. And so we are going to help you with that resume building that Bridget talked about. We're going to help you with the interview practice that Az talked about. And then we are going to also help you learn the confidence that is going to help you be successful when you get into those programs. So you don't need to really feel like, oh, I'm ready for this. All you have to know when you come to a pre-apprenticeship program is you're ready to work hard, you're ready to show up on time, and you're ready to dig in and make a future for yourself that is something that you're truly committing to. And I want to use the example of a young woman named Jessica, who came to one of our career fairs when she was 13 and came to that fair a couple times. She went through our pre-apprenticeship program, and during that time, she decided to become a carpenter. She went through the Carpenters Apprenticeship program, journeyed out, and Jessica, and I want all the kids listening right now to hear this, because Jessica right now is 24 years old, and she just bought her own home all by herself. So if you kids out there are thinking about, well, this sounds hard, I don't know, think about the rewards, because this is a career where you can take care of yourself, and you can go buy that big truck that you might want to buy, or you can help your parents out with some money. It's a career that's going to set you up for life.
No, I appreciate that, Lisa. And just to kind of encapsulate everything that I just heard, I want to bottle it into three different things. What I heard was you got to show up and have some great character. on time, willing to be coachable, as I would say in sports to young people, same thing in construction, have a positive attitude. And then I would say competency would be another one. Are you learning? Are you doing your own research? Are you actually seeking people out? As my grandmother used to say, those who do not open their mouth do not get the knowledge. So you really have to be willing to ask questions to get the kind of answers you need to be successful. And then the last one that I think is probably just as equally important is performance. Are you really retaining what you're learning? Are you allowing people to teach you? And then are you elevating so that you can grow from a pre-apprenticeship program into going into an apprenticeship program? And then ultimately getting to that journeyman or journeywoman level to where you can control your own destiny and start your own business, or even, go work for somebody and make a, great salary. Like Lisa said, buying a house at 24. I guarantee you there's not many 24-year-olds out there doing that these days. So really appreciate, kind of that framing of, how you get in and some of the things to be thinking about. What I'd love to open up and kind of really call on the pre-apprenticeship programs first is I would like to know, okay, now that I'm in, you've got me jazzed up on this call, and, I've now got myself into an apprenticeship program. What does that continuum look like? What are the pre-apprenticeship growth programs doing to, one, teach them a trade, but then as they get ready to leave that pre-apprenticeship program and graduate, what am I doing next? How are you getting me to the next level of getting into an apprenticeship program? And before I call on the pre-apprenticeship programs, I want to also equally say for the apprenticeship programs, same question, but framed a little different. How are you carrying those apprentices to that journey level? Because I will not bite my tongue on this call. We do have a challenge with retention across the board in the trades. And so just really want to start with our pre-apprenticeship programs and ask, as people are getting ready to graduate, they're starting to get those tools and that awareness. How are you helping them get to the doors of some of the apprenticeship programs that they certainly want to be in? And I'll ask Kevin to start us off, and then I'll ask Lisa to chime in after Kevin.
Yeah, so here at the college, we don't have a pre-apprenticeship program, but we do bring in a lot of people that have come from the pre-apprenticeship program. Going from apprentice to journey worker, we like to have our apprentices really think about the long game. Think about the end of that, the finish line, as opposed to where you're at. We like to be transparent that in this industry, it's not your standard 9 to 5. You know exactly where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing. Things can fluctuate, and if you're not prepared for that, it can scare you. If you get laid off that first time, it can be a shock. But if you play that long game and you focus on that finish line and understand this is just a down in the road that where I'm going to get to, you get past that finish line and those ups and downs, they start to smooth out and you really start to see the rewards of what you've gone through.
And Kevin, I forgot to expand on my comment to you specific, because I acknowledge your apprenticeship program, but since POIC is a pre-apprenticeship program that operates in your building, can you maybe expand on that relationship? Because I think there's a great kind of relationship as far as passing, one off to another. So maybe can you expand on just that relationship before we kick it to Lisa?
Yeah, so we have POIC here at the college. Every day they're out there. Today they're out there working on a framing exercise, which is pretty cool. But when you finish that program, coming into our program, if you have that pre-apprenticeship credential, it allows you to bypass a lot of the process of the application. For example, we have what's called a ranked list, which is a collection of points that gives you your job. If you have a pre-apprenticeship, if you've gone through that, you've shown us that you've got the skills and you've got that character and you have that basic foundation, you can skip right over that list and get hired on faster than all the other applicants. It's a pipeline you can get in, you can get to an employer at a faster rate than you would if you were just coming in just as an applicant.
Thank you. Lisa?
Thank you, Nate. So the question of what do we do to help them be successful getting into apprenticeship programs is something that we think about a lot. And we have several different programs that answer that question. So our career counselors help the apprentices, pre-apprentices, graduate and find the right apprenticeship program for them. About 70% of our graduates do go into union apprenticeship programs. Some of them decide to go directly to work, maybe for a small mom and pop remodeling company or a deconstruction company, something like that. So we try to work with each student to make them understand the benefits of each of those, and then also to understand what their life circumstances might be that make each choice the right choice. So then once we help them make that choice, we actually, as I mentioned before, we are literally calling them through that first year of their apprenticeship program and asking them, how's it going? And do you need any support? We also hold monthly social hours for all of our graduates and any other tradeswoman, which allows those brand new apprentices to be surrounded by a community of other tradeswomen to talk about things that are maybe challenges and to offer advice to each other. We also offer a Tradeswomen Leadership Institute once a year where they can grow their skills and they can grow in their learning about where they're going further in their career. Like you said, some people after being a journey worker for a few years decide, oh, maybe I want to start my own company, you know. So we address all of that. And we have a retention coordinator that's available for any graduate who has been out in the field for a while and wants to call back and get additional support to make sure that they can be successful.
Great. Sounds like you guys provide that extra oomph, I want to call it, to you know, help position these folks to be candidates for these apprenticeship programs, which is that mentoring, that, you know, kind of keeping them, you know, eye on the prize, if you will, of getting to that next step on the ladder of economics, you know.
We don't, sorry to interrupt, we don't want anyone to feel alone. So we know that there are points in this journey where you might feel like, oh, geez, I don't know what comes next, or I don't know how to handle this thing. That's where we're the resource. And I'm gonna tease a little bit of our future here, but COVID has caused us to re-envision or retool our program a little bit, and this won't be officially rolled out for a little while, but we are going to be shifting a little bit of our pre-apprenticeship program to be more of a pipeline navigation system, because we know that some people who call us or email us really don't need our full 8 weeks. They may have been in the military or grown up on a farm and really have a lot of readiness to go in directly into the carpenters or the electricians or another program. So we're going to be retooling our program to allow us to offer some direction to bypass our official pre-apprenticeship program, but give them the additional support they need to be successful in their application with a union apprenticeship program.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And now that Lisa has helped me either as a woman, or Northwest College has helped me as a male or female, I'm now getting into an apprenticeship program, and I'm looking at Az's program, I'm looking at John's, and certainly Bridget's, and I've gotten into one of them. You know, I want to start with Az and then John, or sorry, I want to start with Bridget, then Az, then John. You know, what is that journey, and how is that experience in the apprenticeship programs helping to get them to that level of getting their journeyman and journeywoman card? And so I want to kick it off with Bridget, because I think that is where the game changer for economics really bears its fruits. So Bridget, you want to start us off on that question?
Yeah, thanks, Nate. So we have a 90% completion and journey level exam pass rate in our apprenticeship program. So we do quite well if you were to compare us to the typical completion rate of a college, pardon me. So we do well there, but as Nate pointed out, recruitment is far different from retention, and making our environments welcoming to everybody is critical. I mean, we have a construction in general suffers from a poor stereotype reputation of being kind of rough and tumble, a lot of white men dominating the industry. And so we do the best that we can in order to prepare people for the fields. They go through a 2-week basic skills training here at our training center before they go out into their actual first job site. And then when they come back for their first term of school, we put them through what's called positive job site culture training, where they're giving them some skills and some tools to use in situations where they might encounter some harassing behavior, something that's maybe a hostile work environment, as well as being an effective bystander. So training on what to do when you see that happening within your crew or maybe on another crew, and having those tools to speak up and speak out and act on it, checking in with that individual so that they don't feel alone. It's critical that we retain our membership. It's critical for us as IBEW that our membership reflects the communities that we work and serve. So that piece is essential. I mentioned a couple of organizations such as our EWMC and our Renew groups. We promote leadership within our industry, so we'll identify apprentices that look like potential leaders. They want to lead, they have those characteristics, and also maybe people who we think might be a good leader, but they're still a little shy and might need some tools and some help along the way. And we'll sponsor them to attend conferences, leadership conferences across the country. We also provide tutoring 3 times a week at our training center for anybody who might be struggling academically. And we have loads of community services as far as supportive services that we link with and partner with, like Oregon Tradeswomen, Labor's Community Service Agency, to help out our union members when they're struggling. So we really try to foster communication between the apprentice and whoever their instructor may be, or maybe they're not in that instructor's class that term, but they have a favorite instructor, or they can always come to myself or to our training director, whoever they feel comfortable communicating with to get that support.
Thank you, Bridget.
To echo everything that Bridget said, we're very comparable. We have an assigned coordinator to each of our apprentices, and we do encourage them to reach out as much as possible. That's their job, is there to mentor people and to help guide them through the process. We have recently switched up our model. Before, we used to have coordinators and then separate instructors. We've switched to a hybrid model where our coordinators are actually instructing as well. And that gives them face-to-face time with the apprentices so that they have an established relationship with them. And we feel like that really helps people, approach their coordinator in those tough times where they really need that help. If they don't have a face or they don't have an established relationship, I feel like it's a little bit harder to reach out when you're struggling. And then we also have a lot of council reps on the union side who are there to help and support as needed. And we have so many support groups. We have our sisters in the Brotherhood. Once a month, they get together. Before COVID, they used to get together in person. Now they're doing it virtually. We have our Carpenters in Action. We have Veterans in Action. We have one geared towards a hobby, which is people who like motorcycles. I mean, you name it, we have it, and it's open to all of our membership and also open to the public who want to just come and get exposure to what it is that we're doing and how we're supporting each other. And the goal behind all of them is just get people in the same room or together so that they can connect and establish their own, mentors the natural way, right? So everything that both Bridget and Lisa spoke about, the Carpenters offer too, and communication is key. That's the really important part. I feel like the people that we lose them because they didn't reach out to somebody and let them know that they had an issue on the job site, or they didn't reach out and say, hey, I'm struggling, I don't know how to submit an NPR, I'm struggling financially, so reach out to anybody at the training center. We're here for you. We can only help you if we know that you're struggling.
Thank you. And last to respond to our panel questions is John, before we open it up for some general Q&A with the students that have tuned in. John?
Sure. I guess when it comes time to try to mentor people and find spots that they can identify with other people, what we're starting to do now is with like tools like Instagram. I don't know, I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if everybody can see that or not.
Yeah, we can see it, John.
But retention issues usually pop up because of things like Kevin was talking about, maybe thinking you're going to sweep the floor forever. So for instance, the most recent post I did here, Daca graduated in March from our apprenticeship program. So I put 10 pictures of him on rooftops and outside architectural projects, showing what he did for the last 5 years, showing what his journey was, where he got to and where he started at. And then just kind of tell everybody in our trade all the different great things that we're doing. We're building stainless walls, and we built the stand for the Heisman Trophy. You know, and here's some service techs opposed to them in class doing their thing for their limited energy class. So it's just about trying to talk to each other. It's funny how many sheet metal workers don't know all the other things sheet metal workers do, right? We've got 70 contractors, carpenters same way, electricians same way. We got lots and lots of contractors under our apprenticeship programs. If you don't like what you're doing, there's a good chance that there's a different part of one of our trades that you might enjoy a lot more than what you're currently tasked with. So you can reach out to the JATCs from our programs and talk about your experiences as an apprentice and what you're getting out of the program. And if you're learning what you feel like you need to be learning. You know, our apprenticeship model is wonderful because it's a lot of times it's one-on-one with a journey person, you know, out there in the field. And in the classrooms are really small. It's not 30 shop people running around with their heads cut off. It's, you know, 12 students in a classroom with an experienced tradesperson leading the way. And usually our programs have 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 different instructors that come from all different walks of that particular trade. And students get a mix. You know, this person was my instructor, and then the next week this person's my instructor. So they get a lot of contact that way. What we're trying to do is trying to provide platforms that they can see all the different facets of our trade. They can link to the 70 contractors on our website and see what others are doing within our trade. They can go to the Instagram and see the posts. This is an instructor of ours, Jim Ramos, just laying out a project. Just here's an OTI graduate. Here's a shout out to Lisa, somebody that graduated from their program, went back to their facility a couple months ago or a few weeks ago and put some ductwork up for them. You know, but if you don't know about it, then you don't know about it. So we're starting to advertise that sort of stuff. We want to build up our retention.
No, I think that's great. And I want to thank you guys for having the kind of panel discussion. And I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in from the students. So I want to start. And if we're not able to finish with the last about 8, 9 minutes we have, you know, hopefully we can get some of these answers to these questions offline. But I want to ask from Aaron Lopez, there is a question about what is the level of English required and is there testing required? And, you know, are there ways if you're a Spanish speaker, you know, that you have some kind of literacy that is in Spanish kind of comes to mind for me. But, you know, we don't all have to answer, but if somebody wants to chime in and, you know, kind of echo any comments, we could answer that one for Ms. Lopez.
Nate, I can answer that one. So for the carpenters, you do have to have you have to have the ability to speak English. Not 100% though. You know, we have a lot of bilingual students who prefer to speak Spanish, and English is their second language, and so they are successful in the program. But you do have to have the basic understanding of English to be able to sit in the classroom, because it's the classroom setting where that's going to impact you. On the job sites, you know, there are some all Spanish crews, and so you would get on just fine. But when you're coming here to take the training, it is very hands-on. It is some book work. You are going to be working in groups with other people, and so being able to speak freely between each other is really helpful. We will help as much as possible. We do have a partnership with Mount Hood Community College, and so if somebody is needing to get English lessons, we can offer through them, but we don't have anything in-house ourselves. We do not test anybody. You don't have to test to get into the program, and you don't test once you're here. The exercises that you're going to be doing during your class, you may be doing a couple of quizzes, but they're mostly hands-on. And so that's how you're graded during your class.
Thank you. Any other quick comments in regards? And if not, don't worry about it. Just more want to make sure that we get a couple answers to those questions.
Hey Nate, can I jump in? Because I think Erin has also asked this question, and I honestly don't know the answer, but she also asked, can DACA or undocumented students apply for pre-apprenticeship or registered apprenticeship?
Great question.
I can answer some of that stuff. So yeah, we have had DACA recipients go through both our pre-apprenticeship and our apprenticeship program. The key is that they need to have their I-9 documentation showing that they can work in the United States. And then as far as the English as a second language, we do have a reading comprehension test that'll test you on basic reading comprehension skills. We have had a number of folks pass through our apprenticeship program successfully who are in ESL. I recommend anybody who has a concern about that reach out to the, what is it called? The Step Up program at Mount Hood Community College, because they have a lot of resources for ESL and getting folks prepared and ready for either a pre-apprenticeship or an apprenticeship program.
And Bridget, real quick before we pivot away from you, somebody asked a specific question of you, Bridget. They say, Bridget, how much time is spent on the job and how much is spent in the classroom with IBEW?
Sure. So it's going to depend on our program. So we have a 5-year program, a 3.5-year program, and a 2.5-year program. But each one of those programs, you're going to spend most of your time out on the job. You will be in school about 20 days out of the year. So we have day school here where you'll come to school 1 day a week for 10 weeks and then have 10 weeks where you're working full time. And then you'll come back 1 day a week for 10 weeks. We do provide a $299 stipend for those lost wages. So every term you complete up to 2 terms a year, you'll get a $299 check.
Great. And I've got to ask Alex this question because this is a great one. Alex is expressing his opinion. He said, I like the trades and I'm really interested in pursuing it. I'm missing a class for this. What benefits do you get from the trades? And I know that each one is different. P.S. My teacher knows I'm here. So can we, maybe each one turn your mic on for 30 seconds. We'll kind of go in the order we started with and just give him what the benefits mean, because some kids may not know what you mean when you say benefits, when you journey out and when you're in these programs. So I'll start at the top. And Bridget, since you've been kind of on it, let's let you go first, followed by Az and John after.
Okay, sure. So our apprentices get a full scholarship. So we pay for their tuition, we pay for their books. They get about $600 in hand tools before they go out on their first job site. After about 3 months, their health insurance kicks in, and then we have 4 different benefits or 4 different pension programs, which all kick in at different times. It's called being vested. So you need a certain number of hours for those pensions to kick in. Full family, medical, vision, dental, and flex plan. So every hour you work, $1.20 goes into your flexible spending plan. You can use that to cover childcare. You can use it to cover medical costs that weren't covered by your insurance, and you can cover it for unemployment to supplement any unemployment checks if you have to take unemployment at any time during your career.
Great, thank you. Az.
So for the carpenters, it's the same. We pay for your apprenticeship program, so there's no additional cost to you. You will have some book fees during your apprenticeship. They can range from anywhere from $3 to a class to $60 a class, depending on the class you're taking. You only have 4 classes a year, and we do Monday through Thursday, 4 10s, and you can claim unemployment for the weeks that you're in class. And then you can also work the Friday, Saturday, if you choose to. For benefits, our journey level workers are on about $45 an hour, sometimes a little bit more depending on the occupation. And then our benefit package is worth about $20 an hour. And you're looking at the same as the electricians, you're looking at medical, dental, and vision for you and your family. We also have the pension, and it's about 3 years to be vested in our pension. But that does depend on the hours that you're putting in. You may get there a little bit sooner. And then we also have an employee assistance program. The employee assistance program, it offers medical, financial, and what's the other one? Medical, financial, and I believe mental health So that's an additional, oh, and legal, that was the other one. So medical, financial and legal services to all of our members, and not only the members, but also their families. And then the one great benefit is that as you're working, we have a bank that you put your medical hours into. And so it's kind of geared towards the times where you're not working. You can pull those hours out of your bank so that you have accrued medical coverage for you and your family so that there is no lapse. And we don't have a cap on how much you can put in there. And so that's a really great benefit to our members.
Thank you, Az. And I want to kick it to John, Kevin, and Lisa before we end. Just real quick, if you can give the highlights, and we can certainly get that info out to others if we have to go deeper. But John, quick highlights of benefits.
Yeah, the benefits is one word, it's independence. All these crafts that are talking all make great money. They all have pension, they all have health care. But the independence part is that they've got a pension and retirement. It doesn't matter whether Social Security gets absolved or not. You know, it doesn't matter. We're independent of that. The person's independent of that. The journey that they take is completely up to them. They get to travel, right? One of these journey cards is good in all 50 states. It's way more important than the bachelor's degree I have hanging on my wall. But mostly it's just you get enough money to do what you want to do. You want to buy a house, you want to get on a bike. You just become your own person, right? And the journey is totally up to you. So I'd say independence is where it's at.
Couldn't agree more. Kevin, on you.
Yeah, it's a little different here at the college. All of that is decided by your employer. We work more as a middleman between you and your employer, so that'll all be done through you and your coordinator. You'll work with them on that.
I appreciate that. And then last but not least, Lisa.
Okay, the one thing I agree with everyone else, the one thing I want to stress is pride. I have tradeswomen come to me every day and say, I helped build that Selwood Bridge. I helped put up the new Multnomah County Courthouse. They can say that to their children. Look, mommy built that. And it's a sense of pride. And as John said, the skills you build, you can take anywhere in the world. You know, you have independence, pride, and a real sense of doing something in this world and making a difference.
Well, I want to thank you all because that was some great knowledge and wisdom given today. And I want to thank PPS for allowing us this opportunity to get young people to explore our industry that bears so many fruits in the way of economic independence, as John said. And with that, I want to turn it over to Raquel to close us out.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, everyone. I want to close very quick with for our attendees, if you want more information about apprenticeship programs in Oregon, please visit the website oregonapprenticeship.org. It's a new website, has been recently updated with all this wonderful information. We encourage you all to visit the website to get more details. And this afternoon at 1 o'clock, we will have another panel, but in this case will be with apprentices. To conclude the session today, we want once again ask you all confirm your attendance and please complete the evaluation at the bit.ly link shown on the screen, CM20-eval. Once again, thank you all for attending our session today. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, AGC, and all